What is up, everyone? Hope everyone is all good. So I wanted to do this video, and I wanted to use this for current clients and new clients who sign up with me, and just to throw this out on YouTube, just to help people with the muscle building nutrition fundamentals. Now, to me, this is probably extremely basic and straightforward because I've been doing this for a long time, but a lot of people still struggle to nail the fundamentals, and they're caught up with a lot of bullshit online. They're not sure what to do, what they need to eat, how much do they need to eat, meal timing, supplements. These are all regular questions that I get from clients who start with me, and just people on Twitter in DMs and comments daily. So just to have this video here as a little bit of a resource, just to always send to people, it's going to help out a ton. Now, as you know, with a lot of my stuff, I try to make everything as simple as possible, because a lot of this is simple. It isn't complicated. People who try to complicate it are probably trying to sell you something. So I'm not trying to do that. I'm just trying to, I wish someone would have given me this slideshow 10 years ago, when I was, 18, 19, and I was still trying to find my way in the gym and with nutrition. If someone would have given me this then, I would have been forever grateful. So this is what you need to know in terms of, muscle building nutrition. If you're someone who's skinny, we're trying to build muscle, we're getting in the gym for the first time, we're trying to pack some size on our frame, this is for you, and this is what you need to know, okay, without any of the shit added. So first thing, let's get into it now. Total daily calories are the most important thing. That is what's going to govern all of this. We can be eating all the protein in the world, and meal timing is great, but if we're not eating enough total calories throughout the day, every single day, nothing is going to happen. So you need to imagine it like a scale. We need to be eating more calories than we burn every day. If we're burning more calories here than we eat, how can we expect to add any lean tissue? We're not going to add lean tissue out of thin air, so we need to be eating slightly more food than we burn daily. Now, how many calories more? Just around 200 to 300 daily of a surplus is all you need. So as I say here, if your maintenance is 2,800 calories, you need to be on 3,000, 3,100 daily, okay, consistently. Just doing that 4 or 5 days out of the week, and then let's say of the weekend you under it, or for whatever reason you were only eating 2,200 for 2 or 3 of those days, that won't cut it, and that's not going to get you where you need to be. You need to be consistently 200 to 300 calories over your maintenance every single day. We're going to be doing that via tracking our foods, whether it's using a calorie tracking app like MyFitnessPal, chronometer, whatever you choose to use. Tracking calories is always going to be the most accurate way to get us from A to B and know what we're eating every single day. Can we gain weight without tracking calories? Yes, of course we can. Is that going to be as accurate as actually tracking calories and actually understanding how much food and the quantity of food you're eating? It's never going to be as accurate as that, let's be honest. So that's where having a calorie tracking app, that can be extremely useful. So 200 to 300 daily calories over your maintenance every single day. It's not complicated, okay? That's non-negotiable. Well, that's the most important point. Let's get that out of the way. So, and that leads us into protein. Okay, so let me move my face over here. So that gets us into protein. Now, as we know, protein is the building blocks of building muscle. Okay, that's what our muscles are made up of. So how much protein do we need? Now, you always see the 1 gram per pound of body weight spouted online and amongst a lot of us, and that's a good range to be in. I think you can be a little bit less than that, 0.8 gram per pound of body weight. And if you're a 180 pound man, if you eat between 160 to 180 grams of protein daily, you're going to be on the right lines. Now, when you're in a calorie surplus and you are eating excess carbs and fat, carbohydrates are also protein sparing, so especially being in a surplus, you probably don't need as much protein as if you were in a deficit. But as I say, just being in this range, it's going to put you on the right track. Any more than this, it's probably not needed. It's probably just redundant at that point. You're probably better putting the extra calories and the food into carbohydrates and fat. So around 0.8 to 1 gram per pound of body weight. That's going to put you in a good position and where you need to be. Now, again, this is pretty basic in terms of what to eat for protein. Things like beef, so all types of steak, sirloins, ribeyes, whatever, fillet steak, your chicken breast, chicken thighs, chicken fillets, whatever you need, pork, lamb, fish, so white fish, salmon, it can be even yellow fish, sardines, tuna, whatever it is, and then eggs, Greek yogurt, and then whey protein. Now, whey protein, you need to make sure it's a good quality one. The one I use is Centenarius Whey. Again, top quality products, but you don't need whey protein, it's just there to fill in the gaps. But this is, all of this stuff here, it's basic, and that's where a lot of your protein sources are going to come from, okay? Don't need to complicate that. That's protein, and then that gets us on to carbs. Now, as we know, carbs get a bad rep in the industry by a lot of these gurus or keto gurus. Again, anyone who is, if we're trying to effectively build muscle and put ourselves in the best position possible, carbohydrates are not going to be the enemy. They're going to help. If someone wants to follow keto and that's their preference, that's fine, but there's nothing magical about that. For the majority of people, and what you will probably see as well, look at the best bodybuilders in the world, the best powerlifters in the world, the best strength athletes in the world, people who are really interested in, in putting a lot of muscle and strength to their body and their frame. A lot of them are prioritising carbohydrates, and they're eating a lot of carbohydrates daily. Can you get jacked without carbs? You can, but I always ask myself, why would you want to do that? Unless you have some sort of health issue, or you really can't tolerate carbs, which some people are like that, that's fine. But again, for a lot of the people that I have worked with, majority of people, we're always eating carbohydrates when we're on a muscle building diet. So the fact that they get a bad rep, it's just bullshit thinking from pencil necks anyway, who probably haven't got a lot of muscle mass or strength anyway, and why would we want to listen to them? So don't listen to that bullshit. So in terms of what sources do we need, it's pretty simple again. White rice, white potato, sweet potato, pasta, all types of fruit, sourdough bread. Again, with the bread, make sure it's a good quality. You don't just want to eat some bullshit which is loaded with all types of seed oils and chemicals, preservatives. You want to try and avoid as much of that as we can. Plantains, I had to mention that because I'm here in Venezuela, such a good source of carbs, and yuca. Now again, this is all basic stuff. There is nothing magical about this, so get some good carbohydrates in your diet. I also forgot to mention vegetables here. Veggies should be here. I just forgot to mention them. Again, veggies, maybe an 80 to 100 gram serving with each meal throughout the day, with your fruits as well. That's going to provide you with enough vitamins and minerals, and you're going to be good to go. Okay. And that takes us on to fats. Now, what you will find with getting a good amount of protein anyway, you're probably going to get a good amount of fat from your protein sources. So let's say you have a sirloin steak or a ribeye steak, that's more than likely going to have about 20 to 30 grams of fat in that anyway. So throughout the day, if you're eating a couple of meals of salmon, and you had some steak and chicken breast, whatever, even chicken breast has some fat in it, not a lot, but a couple of 100 grams of chicken breast is still probably going to give you around 8 to 10 grams of fat. So you're always going to be accumulating fat throughout the day. Other sources apart from your fat from meat and fish, you're looking at avocado, olive oil, good butter, ghee, high fat dairy such as your, let's say, milk, cheese, cottage cheese, all that type of stuff, and then nuts. So you may have things like almonds, cashews, pistachios, whatever is your favourite type of nut, that's all fine. Okay, so that's fats. Now you're probably wondering, well, if I eat 0.8 to 1 gram of protein a day, how much carbohydrates and fats do I eat? That's going to be person dependent. If you have your calorie goal, let's say of 3,000, and 1,000 calories of those is from protein, you fill the remainder of those 2,000 calories as you see fit and how your body runs best. You may function better on higher carbs, a little bit lower fat. You may function better with moderate carb, moderate fat. That is for you to play with, but as I say, we go back to the first slide. Total daily calories is number one. You manipulate that as you see fit. Okay. okay? Don't need to complicate it. So that's fats. And then if we get into meal timing, now, as I put here, for 95% of people, this doesn't really matter. If you're just the average fella and you're just trying to get in some decent shape, do you need to worry about this? Probably not. But if you're someone who's, let's say you're a bodybuilder and you're trying to maximize protein synthesis and you're trying to inch out every last little minute percentage that you can, does this matter? It probably does. And if that's you really want to optimize things, at least 4 protein feedings of around 25-30 grams at least throughout the day. Now again, let's take an example of you eat 180 grams of protein throughout the day. If you were to spread that 40 grams, 45 grams each meal 4 times throughout the day, around 3 to 5 hours apart, that's going to maximize muscle protein synthesis. Now, if you're at the top level and you're really, trying to get the most out of everything, that's going to be for you. For most people, hitting your total calorie macro goal by the end of the day, you're going to be good to go. If you do that in 2 meals or 3 meals, it probably doesn't matter. We're talking about the very, very minute details here, so don't complicate that at all. But pre-workout nutrition, that is important, and I know that's what I'm going to get into now. Okay, so the priority always with pre-workout nutrition, it's always going to be, we want some carbohydrates in there to fuel the body for performance. We're going to want a bit of protein, not too much, just a little bit to stimulate muscle protein synthesis, so a minimum 25-30 grams. And then we just want a little bit of fat. We don't want too much fat because it's going to make us feel nauseous, we're going to feel sick, and the food is going to be digesting in our stomach for too long. But we want a little bit of fat just to slow the absorption so we don't crash and burn. If we take in a lot of carbs and protein without any fat, there's a good chance we are going to crash and burn early in the workout. So a little bit of fat is very useful. I got that tip from John Meadows a couple of years ago. Rest in peace. He's an absolute legend. If you don't know who he is, go and look at his YouTube, Mountain Dog. He's an absolute legend. I've learned a ton from him, so got to give credit where it's due there. So, when do we eat this pre-workout meal? 2 to 3 hours before we train, and again, we want something that is easily digestible, and we also want to put some salt in there. Again, I learned this years ago from Stan Efferton. He is huge on sodium and salt and oil on meals throughout the day. Again, salt is going to provide us with the electrolytes and some minerals that we need while we're training to help with muscular contractions, all this stuff, preventing dehydration. That's what we need. So make sure just a sprinkle of salt on the meal is going to be good to go. That also takes us into intra-workout carbs, so some sort of carbohydrate powder like a dextrose, a maltodextrin. I use cane sugar because I'm here in Venezuela. So just 20 to 30 grams of carbohydrates coming from a liquid source. You can sprinkle some salt in that also. That's just also going to give you some carbohydrates during the training session to maintain your energy as well. Again, that was a game changer when I introduced that many years ago. So just a couple of examples of meals, again, very basic. Eggs, some bread and fruit, chicken and rice, and Greek yogurt and fruit. All of that stuff is going to be easily digestible. It's got enough protein, really prioritising carbs, and not a ton of fat. The only thing which may have a lot of fat would be the eggs, but you just make sure that you don't have a lot of eggs. Maybe 3 to 4 is enough to stimulate protein synthesis, but not too much fat. So that's just an example. Okay, so then takes us into the final point is, I always get asked about supplements. People just love supplements. At the end of the day, supplements are there just to supplement your diet, okay? They're not needed. They're not necessary. Again, it's the minute extra percentage. If you need to have your food on point, your actual training plan on point, and your sleep needs to be on point for any of this to matter, okay? You're not going to be able to paper over the cracks with supplements if your nutrition is dog shit and you're sleeping 3 hours a night. So you need to get that nailed down first. But it's worth mentioning supplements, and a couple that I would recommend and are useful, and they're not a waste of money. These can be useful. So first one, as I mentioned before, a good whey protein powder if you struggle to hit your protein targets throughout the day. If you're extremely busy and you're on the go and you need something to get in your system fast, you haven't got time to cook, having a good whey protein powder on deck is always useful. Again, I always recommend Centenarians. They're elite protein brand. I've been using them for a while now. I don't get any digestive issues from them, as you might have had experience with this in the past. Certain protein powders, they're an absolute nightmare for your stomach. They have you firing your ass off, fucking pains all over the place. We don't want that. We don't want any sort of digestive issues from a poor protein powder. So if you are going to get one, make sure you get a good one. Okay, so that's protein. Then creatine monohydrate again. The amount of research and the amount of anecdotal evidence for this being one of the best supplements out there, it quite simply works. I'm not going to get into the details of it and how it works and what it does, but creatine monohydrate, it's extremely useful. It's not that expensive. It used to be a lot cheaper than it is now with the overall inflation, but it's definitely worthwhile. So creatine monohydrate is another one I'd recommend. Caffeine, again, the amount of research and the actual anecdotal evidence from caffeine, using that pre-workout, it can boost performance, boost alertness. You can have increases in power that's being shown, increases in strength. So smart utilization of caffeine pre-workout 100% works, and it can be smart to utilize that if you need to. Vitamin D, especially for places like the UK, which doesn't get a lot of sun. There might be certain states in America as well, or Canada, wherever you're from. You're going to need to supplement with some vitamin D. I don't have to worry about that here in Venezuela, and I imagine a lot of people in South America, we don't have to worry about this. Plenty of sun here, but if you're back home in the UK, you're going to have to get some vitamin D. It's going to be a game changer. And then the final one, some glycine pre-bed. Again, I've been using this from Centenarians. Again, it's useful. I find that I have a deeper sleep. I wake up feeling more recovered, more refreshed. Now again, sleep is probably the best supplement that you can have. So if something is going to help me sleep better and it works, I'm going to use that. So glycine pre-bed, that's been very, very useful for me. Okay, so just to finish it off, it's simple and effective. Nail the fundamentals first before you even start to worry about a lot of bullshit that gets spouted on the internet. Nail your nutrition, nail your training, nail your recovery when it comes to sleep and resting in between sessions, all that stuff, and have all this nutrition in place. And doing that consistently, you're going to start to build muscle. That's it. It couldn't be any simpler than that. So let me know what you think. Any questions, any more videos, any more topics you'd like me to go to in this lecture format. I enjoyed doing this. It was a little bit different than the whiteboard video, so just let me know any more questions or any ideas you have, and I'll get to it. Alright, so I'll speak to you all in the next one.